Hi guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to another retro RPG. And this week, while the polls are on hold for a while, I would like to present this, Eoris Essence, a Colombian RPG, which we'll deal with on the desktop in just a wee second. But I'd just like to remind you that if you'd like to see these videos a week early, or you'd like to help the channel out, then there's a Patreon in the description down below. So if you could click on that, it'd be very useful to us. Anyway, let's have a look at Eoris Essence. So, this is Eoris Essence, or as the spine of the box tells us, Eoris. So it is that the return of the wolves marks the beginning of our world's end, and beginning is spelt wrong, which gives us a hint at one of the problems that apparently this game had. Now this came out in 2010, so it isn't one of the older games I've covered by far, but it is one of the newer ones. But it is also out of print, and apparently quite hard to get your hands on. Because when it came out, it wasn't terribly successful. So the publishers had a warehouse with piles of these books in. They tried a clearance sale to get rid of them, and then they had the final ones destroyed. So it does lead to a certain scarcity of these books. Now, the problem I mentioned about the misspelling is because if we go to the other edge, we can see Made in Colombia. So this is a South American role-playing game. Now, it was written in English, but as I mentioned, the authors from Colombia, English isn't their first language. Now, they speak English, they wrote it in English, but they got translators in to fix the grammar and tidy things up. But apparently those translators weren't gamers. So it led to a weirdness where gamers writing English as their second language, getting their grammar and syntax fixed by people who were good English speakers but weren't gamers, led to the rules being a bit confusing and some oddities in the way the text is written to a native English speaker. But that's a very minor thing. Now, inside the box, we have two books, and we can see that these are in landscape rather than portrait. Now, I'll put the second book aside for a moment, and as we can see, all the artwork is absolutely beautiful. These are very nicely presented books, and they are very well produced. The texture of the paper here, inside we have all glossy pages. It is very nicely done indeed. And that's because the authors were artists. So this is a very beautiful set of books. Published by Visions of Essence, the game company, which was obviously set up just to publish this. Now we go inside, and these are absolutely beautiful. Oh, I've opened up the second book. Ha! That's one of the problems with these, because they are only really marked by a wolf on one and a tree on the other. Right, first book. Sorry. Which also has a wolf on the cover. Very nice. Absolutely love this cover image. On the back, sort of stone effect with a rune embossed into it. As I was saying, the print quality is absolutely lovely. Inside, lots and lots of really good artwork. Book 1, Dream. Now I'll flick through this. The first book is mainly background. The second book is rules and more play stuff. Now the background is gorgeous and very, very different. You play on the world of Eoris, which is set inside a different type of universe. There's a sun type thing at the center of it. There's various magic. The inhabitants of Eoris are made up of some angel-like beings. There's other beings which are humans or animal types. And finally, there are some creatures which are trying to bring around the end of the universe. The White Ring, home of the Great Spirit and Son of Eoris. So we've got the sun at the centre, and then this ring around it. We've got the planet Eoris, which is the origin of life. The book really lays out a totally different universe with different playable creatures in it. So you can play as all of these. It's very, very flexible. Magic is such an immense part of it. It is a very beautiful universe. Although so detailed, I can understand why games masters might not totally get into it. This sounds a lot, when I've dipped into it, as somebody's fantastic homebrew campaign. Carrying on through, absolutely gorgeous artwork. Virtually every page is like a work of art. This is just such a beautiful book. We go into details about everything. You know, the last spirit species, the first spirits, the Sill, who are the angelic beings, the Sill throughout history, the 4 Sill families, Aura of the Summer. Then we go on to the Mia, and then we go on to the Seia. The Seia are beloved by the planet, and the planet is loved by the Sill. This connection has bound them since the dawn of time. Got animal spirits, the Eventia. Then we're on to the Xylan. Out of 1 million Xylan species that populate the outer existence, 12 have grown to be civilized. So we've got the Eoris Orisian, the Baron, the Huron, Eveline, Leorich, the Sylvan, Wolves, the Mystic Dragons, the Contacts. Then we're on to Beliefs. I'm flicking through very quickly because there are so much in here. Memories. In its earliest beginnings, planet Eoris was a large spherical mass with a core of liquid green energy surrounded by a thick layer of water. After billions of years, floating land emerged on the surface of this water. Fantastic art. I just love the look of this. It is so beautiful just to leaf through. I can see why you would want to play this, because every picture sells you on ideas. The Age of Rebirth, the Black Howling, Scars of Fate, the Ishlaria, Aris, a timeline there, going through when the Great Spirit created, the Black Howling resounds in the wind, because the Black Howling is the sort of destruction in the universe, the wolves which are about to destroy everything, destroy your world. Got some maps of islands. Again, absolutely beautifully presented. Pages and pages of just lush, gorgeous maps. I get a feeling that these can be assembled into a larger, because we can make out these rings of text. But obviously I would not like to try and tear the pages out and do it. Perhaps online somebody has done that, matched it up, or the authors have released that. Eustaria, the Land of Rebirth. The 12 Ethnias of Ea. Arianor was founded by the Xylan Enil of Elgin. Just so many words that make no sense until you've read everything else. It's just absolutely deep with lore. If you want a massively fleshed out and very, very different universe, this game would definitely be for you. But you are going to probably spend months reading up on it. There is just so much in here. We are only on to, what, page 100 and something, 166 of the first book here. I'll just leaf through because there's so much to show you in the second book as well. Dominions of different creatures. Then we have onto the second book, book 2, Memory, which again is just artwork, and we've got a massive big poem or tale. This is perhaps the high point of presentation. This is a role-playing game as an art book. Just leave this on your coffee table and let people come in and leaf through it and drool. Then we've got a table of contents for the first book. And the second book. Well, this is where we get into rules and stuff. So these books are so large that I'm having difficulty opening them without hitting my camera. I would leaf through the first few pages. Book 3, Thought. So we've got the basic rules here, explaining how they work. It's similar to Shadowrun, World of Darkness games where you have a dice pool, but interesting in using D20s instead of D6s or D10s. The probability of success is very different. But I'll be doing a rules breakdown for Friday, so that'll go into the rules in more detail. There's all these transcendences and different abilities, because magic is such a part of this world. Go through the damage sections, damage types, social interaction system, because social interactions are so much a part of the game rather than just fighting everything out. The Corsair system, which is the magic of the angelic beings, characters of the Black Howling, so their abilities. Got all the sizes of the different creatures laid out here. These books are just gorgeous. Then we're on to different types of characters you can play. The Eorosian, with their basic abilities. Cinerai Rin, Cinerai Alas. I'm going to stop trying to pronounce these. Leor, Aaron, Hurun, Barin. You can see all the different species that you can play, types of characters. The White Evelyn, Red Evelyn, Lyrics, Wolves, which are obviously shape-shifting wolves. Alternate forms for your characters. This looks very technology as well, although everything else seemed very mystical. When you're creating the forms, you've got, specific body parts, clawed hands, webbed hands, tentacles, wings, beaks, to create your form with every ability that you want. You've got character advancement, traits and stories, the skills, derived traits, hindrances, wealth, compulsions. I'm just trying to leaf through this because we are getting onto another beautiful section. Powers, songs and status anomalies. Sil and Xylan powers. Different magical abilities you can get. Different songs which have magical effects. As I said, magic is such a core of this. There are various ways of conjuring up magic rather than just spells, your standard Dungeons and Dragons type stuff. Money, goods and services. So how much it costs to rent a horse, buy armor, etc. Then we've got common battle equipment. And they're listed out, sickles, scythes, spears, short swords. But then we get on to the absolutely beautiful. These are the magical type equipment. These are unique or unique-ish items. Beyond just buying a sword, you can buy these specialized equipment. So we've got various types of armor, various shields here, various swords. And every one of these is drawn out in absolutely beautiful detail. We're on to axes. Get on to sort of pole arms, glaives, warhammers, whips, staffs of various sizes. We're on to bows. Everyone absolutely gorgeous, just beautiful. I've never seen this kind of detail in a role-playing game before, that you know exactly what you're getting. You're not just getting a magical sword and then it's up to you to imagine what it looks like. You can see the picture of what your character's got. Got various aiding equipment here. Again, virtually everything is drawn out and illustrated. Absolutely beautiful. Remote control bodies, Sil relics, system add-ons for antagonists, various monsters that you can fight, villains throughout, your bestiary for your games master, Essence die special outcomes, the Essence system applied. Just add on things to take the rules beyond the basics. And then we've got the index of this book and the character sheets. Now, people comment on the character sheets. They are absolutely gorgeous, as is everything. And I really like the way that instead of White Wolf, where you've got your 9 attributes and they're laid out just left to right to fill them in, this has the attributes round the edge, and then they count out from the middle. So you've got this weird sort of graph thing spiking in areas where your character makes sense. Everything down here is more standard, you know, your melee combat skills, your physical skills, etc. But these, it's just a lovely way. And of course, for all the different types. And that's us reaching the back of the book. So that is Eoris Essence. They're absolutely lovely books. As I said, there's some problems with the game, but it's definitely not in its presentation, it's definitely not in its background. There's so much imagination, so much lovely art gone into this, that it's a real pity that this was not more successful. Second edition, where they could have polished up some of the stuff, but kept all this brilliant art, all this brilliant lore, would have been amazing. Anyway, I've been wittering on for way too long as usual, so thank you very, very much for watching. But as always, most of all, you look after yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Bye now.